Good morning to the Silver Wolves. How y'all doing today? In a recent video, I talked about, for my M65 field jacket, I added a hoodie. Now for us old Silver Wolves, let's talk about layering a minute. Because as we get older, it becomes really more important for us to be comfortable out here. What we wore when we were in our 20s and 30s is not adequate when we're in our 60s and 70s. Simply because our circulation is slowed down. Our overall ability to heat has weakened quite a bit. So therefore we need to make more insulation to hold what we got. Okay? So let's go start with the very bottom layer. All the way down here at the bottom I have a heavy t-shirt. And this is a cotton t-shirt. Cotton is not a good thing in the winter because it will absorb moisture and therefore damp me down if I'm exerting myself and sweating during the day. So I got to be very conscious, of the fact don't sweat and keep myself a little cool during the day. I need to vent, open up and let layers, lose some heat so I stay not cold but just a little bit cool so I don't perspire. Okay. Now at night this is going to be changed. I will be carrying with me in my kit a bone dry set of sleeping clothes that'll go against my skin, and this will come off and change out for that. But this is during the day. That's layer one. Layer two is this fairly heavy shirt that I've got here. Long sleeve, goes all the way out in the cuff, and it's a button-up shirt. I like it because I don't like button up on top of button up because there's a gap. If you can run your fingers between the holes and hit skin, you're losing heat. This is a solid t-shirt. That's going to seal up that. Then on top of that is going the button up shirt. See, this is a multi-blend shirt, not a pure cotton shirt. So I don't have exactly the same problems I would have with just a cotton shirt. It is going to be drying faster and it's going to hold heat a little bit better. Then the layer on top of that is my hoodie that I've got that I talked about in a recent video. This is not a cotton hoodie. This is one of those synthetic materials. And I noticed that whenever I got this hoodie, I made sure that when I zipped it all the way up, it would become a neck gaiter. That's what I want. Instead of having to wear a turtleneck or a woolly pulley or something like that, that will trap heat, but at the same time it gets bunched up around your neck. I like this because it is still fairly loose, see, and so it's trapping warmth because I've got the hood rolled up on the back of my neck. I can unroll that and put it on my head to help hold heat. If I'm feeling cold, assume that some of it's on my head. And I got this nice big wool hat on me, and it's got enough grunge on it. It does good insulation, but at the same time, if I'm starting to feel cool, I should consider if my hands and feet are getting cool, that means the body's saying, hey, I ain't got enough fuel, boss, to fuel both ends. Okay? I got to keep your core, got to keep your head warm. So add something to your head. If you don't have a big old hat like mine, a nice toboggan is good. Like this Made Ready Gear logo brand. Shameless plug for my niece, Trinity. Seen her at madereadygear.com. Good, heavy, thick wool to add a layer of insulation on my head. Now, if you don't have the nice hat, and you have to do a toboggan, that's perfectly fine. Now, you're going to pull the toboggan on. I like to bring it down, cover the forehead. I want to be able to see out. I see a lot of guys doing this. Why? That's brain cut, bring them down. You want something like this. I want it to cover my ears, and see it covers to the nape of my neck. I want the back of my neck to be warm. I want this. With this hoodie on, I roll up and it completely seals around me. So I still got freedom of movement, but at the same time it's there. If that's not quite enough, then roll the hoodie up. The two of these together do a good job of trapping heat. Now as the heat's flowing out of me, it's got to flow around here. See how it's nice and snug around my neck? Then finally my outer jacket. My outer jacket can come out and button up, zip up, etc. to seal it up and make it nice and snug for me. Okay? Of course, I love an M65 field jacket. All right, how about the legs? same idea. Underwear, I do not want cotton underwear. Get silkies or something like that, or better yet, just go with long handles, because you know how awkward it's going to be to go anyway when you got to answer nature and there's 14 layers down to the important stuff. So what I recommend is just go ahead and go commando and wear long handles. Okay, it's just easier in the winter when you got to do your business to do everything. Just straight up from a guy that's been there. Now, a silky layer between your skin and that outer layer is a big help, because as you walk, there's friction. A lot of the long underwears, they feel like they bind up on your legs. And so with us at our age, circulation's a big thing, so we don't want anything cutting off circulation. And with circulation issues, I want to make sure that everything is flowing as well as possible. So I don't want anything constricting on me. At the same time, by putting that real silky layer, and you can find silk long handles or the nylon type against the skin. It slides easier with the next layer up. Then on top of that, I prefer polypro long handles like the military uses. You can find them off in surplus for 10 or 15 bucks a piece in really good shape. That's what I run, and therefore work well for this job. Now, on top of that goes your bulky outer pants, or maybe another pair of long handles, depending on how cold you are. If your legs and your feet are the big weakness, add more down there. I have found it works better for me personally to add 2 layers down there for 1 layer up here. Torso seems to be fine, but it's the legs that start aching, get cold, and when they start getting that way, it's just pain. Okay, the feet. Again, like I've talked about earlier, I put a pair of nylon-like dress socks on the base. Then I put a good heavy wool sock. I do not use cotton socks in the winter. They just don't hold up to me. They mash flat, they lose their loft, they lose their heat, they absorb too much moisture, and your feet get cold too quickly. Go with the wool blend hunting socks. Makes a difference. Now, if you guys have got diabetes and you've got circulation problems, it goes without saying you have to make sure it's a loose fit. Loose fitting clothes is the secret when you got diabetes and you got constriction problems. And so you want it so it doesn't restrict us in any way. Now, I put on that heavy wool sock. Then I go for my boots. Do you need insulated boots or not? That's going to depend on where you're at. Up in the cold, wet, snowy country, you may very well need waterproof insulated boots. Down in my south, a waterproof boot is not a good idea unless I'm actually going to be in water. Because in my environment where it's so warm, even in the sun, even in the dead of winter when it's going to be a low in the 20s, it may be a high in the 60s. And so if that boot's going to sweat me, you just soaked your socks, you lost it. And so I got to keep my feet dry to stay warm. So I do have a pair of waterproof boots, but I only use them when I'm expecting to be wading in water. The rest of the time I use a boot that actually breathes a little bit because of my environment. Now in your case, wherever you may be, where it's snow and slush and etc., obviously waterproof boots may be the way to go. I want the boot to come up at least above the ankle. I don't like real low boots. I want to insulate and protect the ankle. We are silver wolves, and because of that, we don't have that strong an ankle anymore. We don't have as great a balance as we once did. So we want a good ankle support there. I want to take my socks and put them over my long handles. So I put my long handles on, and then I put my sock on, and I bring it up over. I don't want a gap. It'll feel cold between, because this is warm, and this ain't as warm. So I want it to overlap so that heat flows all the way up the leg. It does not have any place to escape out. Likewise, I'm going to take my pants legs in extreme cold. I'm going to tuck them in the top of my boot and blouse them like we used to do in the military. Remember that? Or some people call it Ramboing them. But cinch it down. I like military pants that are loose fitting, and that's something else. We want loose fitting clothing because A, circulation, B, it traps warm air. As that air flows up my legs, I don't want the material to be tight on my legs. That just makes it heated and it's lost in the environment. I want to be a little bit loose so that as I move, it kind of fans a little bit, circulates that warmth up and down. So this part of the leg right here doesn't make quite as much heat as that part of the leg does. I want it to circulate in there as I move and I walk. Now, as many of you know, I've had heart issue and I had to have a bypass. And when they went in and they had to take that vein out of my left leg, that leg became cold to the touch from then on because it lost that big vein, see. And so because of that, that leg is always colder now than the right. So I have to be aware of that, and I have to be a little more conscious of it because it simply has not got as much circulation in that leg anymore because that vein's gone. It's up here running the ticker now. And therefore I have to keep that leg in mind anytime I'm talking about insulations or things like that. Where I make the transition from my legs to my body, this t-shirt is tucked in, then the long handles come over it. Then the outer shirt goes over that. So it's one layer, another layer, another layer. There is no line. See, I want it to flow together like that to trap this heat like a one-piece body suit so that any heat flowing up does not have an instant out. If you guys got a little bit of awesomeness and when you bend over, your shirt comes untucked, get something long enough. You know, a good friend of mine, he would just go and grab extra large or extra long to fit his awesomeness. And so when he bent over, his t-shirt didn't roll up out of his pants in the back. As long as it's holding that heat, we're good. But if you're feeling a draft, why? Let's figure it out. Now before you go out and do camping or whatever, let's do a test. How about you put this on, you go to the park and walk around. Go sit down on the park bench for a couple hours in the conditions you're expecting to camp out in. If I'm getting cold, sitting on a park bench or sitting in a chair, so now make sure that you got some insulation under you. Don't sit on a concrete bench and say, my butt got cold like you will. Did you put a pad under you? You know, use a little horse sense here, guys. But if it's not quite adequate enough, adjust. Now, for those guys, it just ain't enough. Never's enough. What I recommend is look at the heated things. They now have heated jackets that run off of a battery. They have heated pants for snowmobiling, stuff like that. Heated gloves, heated socks. You may want to go that route to make yourself comfortable. Of course, it goes without saying to throw a hand warmer in your pocket if you got the problem with your hands getting cold and achy. Something I can stick my hand in and wrap around. I can remember being a boy and we're going to go hunting. Deer hunting, you're going to be sitting in a deer stand. And Granny would throw baked potatoes in the oven the night before on low. So when you got up in the morning, they were done because they'd been going for hours. One, leaving the stove on low kind of heated the kitchen to help heat the house a little bit. Two, having that potato cook over like 6-8 hours as opposed to 2, it tasted really good. And 3, when you got out in the morning, you just pulled them out of the oven and stuck them in your pocket as hand warmers. And that potato would hold heat for quite a while inside your pocket. And then when it finally got cool, then you'd eat the potato, which gave you fuel to heat your body. So plain old potato and aluminum foil ain't a bad way to go here. In conclusion, layers are how we're going to be able to stay coming out in the cold temps. More layers than what we did when we were in our 30s. It is better to have 2 thin layers than 1 real thick layer because that's why it becomes so awkward. Now, I'm a big fan of woolly pulleys and big wool sweaters, but you need an outer layer that's windproof. I may want to, even over the field jacket, put some sort of nylon windbreaker on to whatever the conditions are. If I've got that strong northern wind coming, I'm probably going to want to do that. I have had raincoats that I would put on over this as a way of blocking the wind. Same thing I put big oversized rain pants on over my pants to sit in a deer stand to block wind. If that outer layer is not permeable to the wind blowing through it, like wool or something like that, and I put that on the outside, I'm trapping more heat around me. I'm working hard to generate these BTUs of warmth. I don't want to lose them. I want to make them have to fight to get away from me so that I'm comfortable as long as possible while I'm out here. I don't want to be sitting there going, God, I'm cold. I want to be sitting there spending time with the grandkids because they want to go down and look at the ducks, or they want to go look at the snow, or they want to go look at the whatever. or walking along with the grandkids doing squirrel hunting or something like that. I want to be comfortable. And so that's what I want for you. So add the layers. Work out a system that works well with you. And then once you get something that works, stick with it. But always, always, always have your eye open for an upgrade. Like going to this hoodie was a big improvement for my M65 field jacket as a extra liner, so to speak. Makes a difference. Hope you've enjoyed this content, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And until next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.